friends, and welcome to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video. This is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and today we're going to be showing you how to complete the solo Rancor raid on Heroic without using Vader. Now, the footage that we're going to be reviewing today is not my personal footage, and I want to give a huge shout out to Dretzel. He is a member of the We With Lives Guild or Guild community, and it has been a pleasure to have him help me out with this, and I'm very grateful. Now, the team that he is using is made up of Jyn Erso, Captain Phasma, First Order Officer, TIE Fighter Pilot, and Grand Admiral Thrawn. Now, for those of you who have never soloed a raid, normal or heroic, then you probably don't realize how long it takes. The normal raid can take anywhere between 30 and 40 minutes, maybe a little less if you have it on 4 times speed and whatnot. But the heroic raid usually takes a lot longer. Now, this particular raid took Dretzel about an hour, and the footage that we have is the whole footage of him from start to finish, and it shows every single hit, everything that we would want to see, every debuff and buff and everything, just everything. Have I said everything too much? I think I have. I'm going to move on, but I don't want to go through and show you an entire hour's worth of a raid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you highlights from each phase of the raid, and I'm going to talk about the strategy that he uses, as well as the skills and gear and just everything that he has going on with this raid. Now, the first thing that you need to know is he only has 3 characters at gear 11. Now, because this is a heroic raid, all of his characters are 7-star, but as you should know by now, stars don't mean nearly as much as gear does. Look at Darth Nihilus. Darth Nihilus is viable in Arena at 3 or 4 star with gear 11 and stats maxed out with great mods. You don't need a 7-star Nihilus to do some serious damage. So that's an interesting thing to think about. He could probably have done this a lot faster. He could probably do quite a bit more damage if he were to put his gear into Jyn Erso, who is at level 7 gear, and TIE Fighter Pilot, who's at gear level 9. The other 3, Grand Admiral Thrawn, Captain Phasma, and First Order Officer are all gear 11 and are all maxed out. Thrawn does have a Zeta on his Ebb and Flow ability, but he doesn't have one on his leader ability because Thrawn is not the leader of this raid. Jyn Erso is. Same thing with Captain Phasma. Phasma has a Zeta on her leader ability, but again, she's not the leader, so that really doesn't affect the outcome of this match. Now, what's interesting, why is Jyn Erso the leader of this group? The answer to that question is because of specifically her leader ability, and it reads as thus. Rebel allies have a 35% potency and recover 5% protection whenever they gain a buff. Enemies that suffer debuffs during Rebel allies' turn have a 50% chance to also become exposed for 2 turns. This exposure cannot be resisted. Now, she is going to be throwing down a ton of expose on all characters in this party during her turn. And that is going to make the Rancor and the Gamorreans very, very vulnerable, which is going to just make the damage that you do exponentially more damaging? Yes, exponentially more damaging. One of the reasons that we like Thrawn in the Rancor raid, or for the Rancor raid, is for this initial phase, or for all of the phases. With his Fracture, if you throw it on the main character, right? You throw Fracture on the Gamorrean captain. As you can see, his team is able to do a ton of damage just simply by keeping Fracture on this character, because you've got speed down, you've got Fracture, because he has Fracture on this character, and this is still a very heavily turn meter team, or still a team that deals heavy with turn meter. He's able to do nearly 60% of all the damage on the Gamorrean captain before the Gamorrean captain can even go a second time. That is ridiculous. Now, once Fracture expires, obviously you have a speed down provided by Phasma. Jin does turn meter reduction, 100% turn meter reduction with her Rebel counterattack. Now, this also gives her advantage for 2 turns. So imagine the advantage that she's going to get. It's just going to be ridiculous. Additionally, her Truncheon Strike deals physical damage to target enemy and removes all turn meter. Jin gains that much turn meter. On a critical strike, stun the target for 1 turn. Now, stun obviously doesn't work on these guys. This is still a very effective turn meter team, and probably the most effective, one of the most effective that I've seen in a very long time. He makes short work of this first phase. It's kind of ridiculous that how well he does. Now again, with Thrawn in the Rancor, or with Thrawn against the Rancor, he does deliver that 50% speed down. Now you'll see, now watch as the door goes down this very first time, he's able to do about 7% of the overall damage during phase 2. This is really all about giving certain allies, you know, other abilities. Now, Captain Phasma's Fuselage, what's really nice about this is not only does it deal physical damage to all enemies with 90% chance to inflict speed down if you have it Omega, but when that speed is down, you can use Victory March and all allies gain 50% turn meter and advantage for 2 turns. And so what you're doing is you're increasing the time it takes for the Rancor to attack and decreasing the time it takes for your team to attack the Rancor. And so that's one of the ways that you're really taking advantage of this. Now, the key to this team is literally just patience, I think. You can see as he just continually uses the right attacks, he throws on Tenacity down with TIE Fighter Pilot, and then now what's cool about the First Order Officer is simply the way that his abilities integrate with the rest of this team. Capitalize deals physical damage to target enemy. This attack has a 20% critical damage if an ally has advantage. This attack is guaranteed a critical hit. So he's going to be doing critical hits potentially if he has advantage. Now, one of the cool things about that is you have Phasma, who grants advantage to all characters, right? So he has the potential to do quite a bit of damage with a critical hit. Now, Marching Orders, his special ability, target other ally 100% gains 100% turn meter and advantage for 2 turns. If that ally is First Order, they also gain offense up for 3 turns, dispel any debuffs from First Order Officer, and target ally and grant them both tenacity up. Not a huge benefit, it's nice, but not super important. But the Pinning Shot, his second special, deals physical damage to target enemy and removes 50% turn meter. If any turn meter is removed this way, each ally gains 15% turn meter. All First Order allies have their cooldowns reduced by 1. So every time that 50% turn meter is taken away from the Rancor, you're going to knock down the Captain Phasma's abilities by 1, and that's going to be very beneficial because the faster that she can use her abilities, the better that she's going to be. The more effective this team is going to be as a whole. Now, again, you just want to make sure that if your team has lower gear, that you're paying attention to that turn meter, right? You're not letting it go too high. You're not letting it get too close to the Rancor attacks. Now, finally, before we go, I kind of wanted to talk about the mods that Drexel has on the characters. Starting with Thrawn, he has speed mods and health. He has speed mods on the triangle. In the top right, he has plus 30% speed. He has quite a bit of, he has 16% protection beneath that, and 5.8% offense beneath that. His total speed increase is 95%. His total protection increase is 1,860. His total speed increase is 95%. His total offense is 13.03% increase. He has 42% more protection. He has 1,863 points more of protection. He has a pretty solid defense, some great potency, and a 3% increase to critical chance. Overall, his speed sits at 260. His health is nearly 2,600. His protection is nearly 40,000, and his potency is 35% almost. Same with his tenacity. This is a really solid character. Now, there are a lot of thoughts on whether you want to keep Thrawn low as far as speed or high, and it looks very effective to keep him at a higher speed than a lower speed. Now, TIE Fighter Pilot, his health is 13,615. His protection is 8,675. He's only sitting at 180 speed, but his critical damage is 1,186%. His potency is 50%, tenacity is 39%. Every time this guy crits, he is decimating. He is doing a ton of damage. This is the reason we have the term glass cannon. And I mean, his health's not great, his protection's not great, but he's not going to be hit very often. And that is wonderful. So, looking to Jin's mods, Jin is also fairly fast. He's put some critical damage, critical chance mods, as well as health on her. She is sitting at 14,517 health, protection 5,120. Her speed also not over 200. She's at 193. Potency is 5%. Tenacity is 26%. Her critical damage is 150%. She is also going to hit like a Mack truck when she crits. Captain Phasma, we've got some speed and health on her. We've got that very vital 30% plus 30 speed mod on her. She has 22,537 health, almost 33,000 protection. She's only at 190 speed as well, but critical damage she's doing 186%, and her potency is 68.25%. Same with tenacity, she's at 42.81%. Again, she is doing quite a bit of damage, and she's decently fast, right? Her potency is up, which means she is going to grant speed down more often. She is going to grant her characters ability boosts more often, and it's going to be very, very effective. Now, finishing it off, First Order Officer, again, that very critical 30 speed mod in the top right. His health is only 17,000, a little over. His protection is also only 17,000, but his speed is 234. Critical damage is 150%. This team just does a ton of critical damage, and that is what makes, I think, this so effective. It's not just the turn meter, but it's the turn meter manipulation with the critical chance. What teams do you guys use to solo the Rancor raid? If you're able to solo it at all. I'm not able to do the solo heroic Rancor yet. I'm working on it. I think it's just fun. I really want to do it so I can check it off my bucket list. But, you know, what teams are you currently using? What are your gear stats? Remember, gear is so important to this game. Stars are great. Obviously, you have to have 7 stars to do the heroic raid at all, or have a character do the heroic raid. But gear is the more important thing. Keep that in mind when you're combining your teams or building your teams. Check out some of our other videos. Let us know what you'd like to see, what videos you'd like to see. Hit us up on our Discord chat. I will leave a link in the section below. If you want to join my Discord channel, we can just chat. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on what videos you'd like me to do next, what topics you'd like for me to talk about. Check out our bi-weekly video with me and Cubs fan Han, where we review the latest news in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. That will be this Thursday. That's the 20th of July. But we'll be doing it every other Thursday. And check out some of our other videos that we'll be doing and posting here the next little bit. Branching out from Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes into a few other nerdy areas with a few other geeky people. Leave a comment in the section below. What did you think of this? What could he have improved on? What did you think he did well at? What did you find curious about this? This has been Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and as always, my friends, stay nerdy.